Alrighty, so I think we should get started. What do you reckon? What do you reckon? That's such an Aussie term. What do you reckon? Alrighty, so just checking all of it's good to go. Everyone can hear. Let's get into it. I better get my notes because otherwise I'll just end up rambling and that's not enjoyable for anyone. We want to get through all this information for you. I'll just keep the little chat open there so I can let people in. And cool. Okay, so welcome. Let me see. So yeah, that's there. As you can tell, I'm not the most technical person in the world, but I get by. And so if I can do this sort of stuff, anyone can. Okay, so where in the world are you? We've got that. Let's see what's next. What's your dream? I would love to know just what is it that, like, what's your travel dream? This is one of my favorite national parks, Yosemite. It's looking a little bit dry there, but Yosemite National Park. And that used to be one of my dreams, was to go to Yosemite National Park, except I used to call it Yosemite until I got corrected by my American friends. So yeah, so you know, do you want to travel around your home country? I know for my Aussie friends and family, that's really all that we can do at the moment. Do you want to take a gap year with your family? Those of you that have, you know, teenage children, do you want to take a gap year and take them out of school and travel around somewhere, just to give them a world experience? Best education, I think, but that's just me. Do you want to learn to paint in Tuscany? Do you want to take cooking classes in Vietnam? Tell me what your dream is while I let some more people into the room. And I'm in the process of applying for residency visa for Portugal. Oh, that would be so great. That's awesome, Cecilia. Fantastic. So Brian, Australia, New Zealand, and South America are on the list. Absolutely. Don't worry about South America. Just go to Australia, New Zealand. No, I'm just kidding. They're both beautiful, all three of them. And if you can only pick one, and this is coming from an Aussie who's married to a Kiwi, so a New Zealander, for those that don't know what Kiwi is, do New Zealand. It's like much more compact and you get all the beautiful things, and they're really nice people, but so is Aussies. But yeah, if you have to choose between the two, do New Zealand. Joanna's dream, remain traveling. So you're a traveler, that's awesome. Are you traveling full time? Exploring, meeting self and others. Biggest challenge is remaining lawful in Australia. Oh yes, let's not go there. But yeah, that is a big challenge. So cool. Okay, so welcome to those that have just joined us. My name's Tegan, and let me just click on here. Okay, so yeah, so welcome to this. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm super excited to share all this information, and I've got a lot to get through. So obviously there'll be some details that I can't share because there's just so much to learn in regards to this, but I'll share as much as I possibly can to enable you to gain, like, even my goal for you is to have like a bit of a map that you can sort of step out as to how to become location independent and become a digital nomad in your 40s and 50s. And specifically that, because in your 20s, it's very different. Like, honestly, like if you're an Australian, the thing to do is to backpack when you're 20, and you just kind of leave everything with mum and dad, say, see ya, and you grab a backpack and around the world you go. When you get to, like, well, my age, I really like my creature comforts. I don't like backpacking. I love seeing the world, but I just don't like backpacking. So you have different responsibilities. There's different things. We need to think about health insurance. We've got family, you know, I've got parents that I need to think of, and all those sorts of things and responsibilities. And, you know, we've got a plan for our retirement. And so these are all the things that we need to take into consideration, a little bit different to when you're 20. So that's why I'm specifically talking to people and wanting to help them to actually navigate this path. If that's your dream to travel more, then I want to help you to get there. So, okay, what we're going to cover today. Oh yeah, one of the things that people say is, oh, you're so lucky, you know, but it's not luck. It's just actually making decisions that are a little bit outside the box. And that puts you into positions, places that you can actually, you know, take advantage of wonderful, wonderful things. That view in that last slide, I don't know how to make it go back, but in that last slide was actually where we spent COVID last year. So see if I can get this to go back. Yeah, there we go. So that was our view during COVID. And it's the reason we enabled that, we had this opportunity was because we have a flexible lifestyle, because we have our income streams set up, because we can make choices. We have the freedom to make those choices. And that opportunity presented itself. And so we grabbed it, and you can see why. So, alrighty, I'm just a quilter, Eileen. We have a dear friend that's a quilter. I want to go to Indonesia, tour the local, also visit my daughter in Thailand. Okay. Health insurance, Tamara, is your big question. I work for federal government. I'm in a retirement age, 5.5 years time. Excellent. Okay, awesome. Keep those coming because I'll go back and look at those questions that you put in there. All right, so what we're going to cover today, the exact steps that we took to get where we are now. So we've been traveling permanently full-time for the last 5 years. The income that you're going to need to do it, how to determine if this is for you, 3 things you definitely shouldn't be doing, so 3 main mistakes that people make, and how we can help you to do it, and then there's a Q&A at the end. So obviously there's a lot more in there. I do talk fast, but I will send you out the recording so that if you want to go back, you can slow it down. I just have so much that I want to share with you today. So, okay, and I have a funny accent too, so. All right, you're in the right place if you're any of these things. So a business owner, an employee, self-employed, an empty nester, a mum or dad with kids, if you're bored with the mundane, or if you're just in, no matter any of those, and you just don't want to wait till retirement to really live up the life that you really want. What got us into this really is, I'll tell you a bit more in a little bit about our story, but it's very much about, I don't know, at our age, it's kind of like, okay, kind of kid-free, you've been working, you've kind of got a career, and then it's like, I'm supposed to wait for like 15 years before I can enjoy myself and take more than 2 weeks or 4 weeks off a year. Yes, in Australia, we get 4 weeks, so we're pretty lucky. But so yeah, it's we just sort of went, no, there's got to be a different way. And so we found a way to make it work. All right, so there is a bonus if you stay until the end, which is a checklist. So everything that I'm telling you today, plus a few extras, that'll be sent out to you tomorrow, just in case I need to add anything else on it from today. And yeah, so you get a checklist if you stick with me till the end. And I hope that I'll be able to keep you entertained by then. Plus, we're going to show you how we can help you to take the first step as well as in becoming location independent. Okay. What this isn't is it's not a get rich quick scheme. Multi-level marketing and things like that are a way to make money, but I don't really talk about those in this especially. I'm not going to be talking about backpacking. I'm not going to be talking about couch surfing. I will be sharing some secret tips about how to make travel a lot cheaper and to get your money, stretching further and to be able to live really comfortably. I'll be sharing that. And we've done this without blogging. I've only just started on Instagram. I really don't like taking selfies. I don't like being on camera. This is really nerve-wracking for me. But, and I've only just started my YouTube channel. We've been doing this for 5 years. So it's all about doing this without having to be the influencer. There's lots of other ways to do this. And I'll be sharing a few of those today. And really importantly is to make sure, I was just looking at a comment from Tamara. I don't know if I'm going to last those 5.5 years waiting for retirement. I hear you, girl. I really do. Yeah. And that's where I was too. It was like, there's got to be a better way. And yeah, the main thing is too, is without using your savings. So, at our age, you really don't want to be using your savings. You want to keep that. You want to keep that really safety net, and you want to be saving for your retirement so that, so it lasts. Basically. And it's also about not going without anything. So I'm into living comfortably. I didn't work this hard to get to this level of living to then have to, sacrifice it to continue. I don't want to do that. So this is what it's all about, or this is what it's not about. Okay. What it is about, just let me catch up with my notes to make sure I'm keeping on track. Okay. It is about daring to dream. and stepping outside the box. So it's about looking for alternatives. You know, we were conditioned, so I'm X generation, we were conditioned, go to school, get good grades, go to university, get married, have kids, and then keep working harder forever and then retire. Pretty standard. And everything about society is conditioned with that. You're not taught in schools back then, especially, to think outside the box, to question things, to question that, okay, maybe it's been done this way before, but maybe there's a different way as well. So that's what this is all about, is about daring to dream. You know, one of my favorites is Brene Brown, who teaches, it's a great, get any of her books. And she is, one of them's called Daring Greatly, I think, just to correct me if I'm wrong. And she's very much about having the courage and being brave and daring to dream. Because if you can dream it, you can make it happen. That's the coolest thing. It's about believing also that you deserve it as well, that you deserve to have that dream, because we are conditioned all the time to stay in the little box. It's just about discovering what else is possible and everything else in between. So one of my favorite questions is, you know, is this all there is? That's kind of something that comes up a lot about in the community that I hang out with, my friends and things like that. Is this all there is? My girlfriends, you know, they've brought up their kids. They've worked so hard to be a good mother, wife, employee, or even self-employed. I still don't know how you women do it when you have kids. Absolutely bow to you. And, you know, and then the kids move out and then they're like, well, is this all there is? No, there's so much more. Just got to think outside the box. Alrighty, so why now is the best time? Now, I actually started this idea last year just as COVID hit. And so then I was like, and we just kind of took some time out with COVID and kind of got through the first year of that. But what I realize now is that it really is the perfect time to do this. And more people now, because of COVID, are now going, hang on a minute, I've worked my tush off, and then, you know, the thing that I thought was secure, my job, all of a sudden I didn't have it anymore, or all of a sudden, you know, I wasn't getting paid because, you know, depending on the government things and all that sort of thing. It was a real shake-up, and people started working from home and suddenly went, hang on a minute, maybe there's something else out there. So it really was the perfect time back then for me to start this. And now's the perfect time. It's always the perfect time. So, but especially one thing I want to bring attention to is that now is the perfect time because it takes time to plan this out. When you were 20, you could decide today, buy a ticket from, we used to have Flight Centre. I don't know if you have that in the States, I can't remember. And go down to that Flight Centre, get a round the world ticket and put it on your mum's credit card if you can convince her and move everything out of your apartment if you're not living with them, put it in their garage, grab your backpack and you could be gone in a week or two. A little bit different now as we mature in life. So it does take, in our view, at least 6 months to kind of prepare comfortably, to get everything kind of organized, depending on where you're at and what you need, you know, which are the steps you need to do. So that's one of the reasons why now is perfect, because for those that can't travel, you know, while we watch the world starting to open up and then not and things like that, now's the perfect time to plan it out. There's also going to be great cheap offers. We're seeing some of those already. You can also, for my Aussie friends and family, you can start at home first, or even people in the US, go road tripping. Beautiful country, absolutely incredible country. There's more people online now, which means there's more opportunities for you. Yes, it means it's more crowded, but it also means people are buying online more now than they ever did before. And they're hungry. They're hungry for information. They're hungry for products. And who knows what tomorrow brings. One of the things, not to be morbid or anything like that, but one of the things that really propelled us forward was, you know, a friend of ours was retiring. We saw him retire, all excited, planning out his first trip, and then he had a heart attack. And so, you know, and then there's my dear friend that in my personal journey who passed away from cancer at 42. She never got to see the world like she wanted to. And so still find it hard to say. So you never know, you never know what tomorrow brings. So why wait? I don't mean be silly about it. Thank you, Tamara. I don't mean be silly about it and, you know, throw away your savings or do anything like that, do anything rash, but let's make some different choices. You know, let's try something a little bit different. And let's see how we can make that happen. Okay, so our story. So this is my husband, Clark, who's in the other room now because I talk too loudly. So he was sitting in the lounge room. And so let me tell you a little bit about our story. So for the past 5 years, we've been traveling the globe, and we've been spending about 1 to 3 months in each location. So basically following summer around the globe. And the reason we do that is because we don't like the cold. I get asthma from the cold when it drops below like 25 degrees, which is, I don't know, Brian, what's that in Celsius, Fahrenheit? What's that? Is it about 70? I don't know. I always get confused. It's about 70. Thank you. I saw a nod of a head there from Eileen. So yeah, it's about 70. So when it drops below there, I start getting asthma. And so it's not much fun. So we went, let's just follow summer around the globe. So we're currently in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, but it wasn't always like this. You know, we didn't get to go to all these beautiful places, which you can see there. Where are we there? We're in Montenegro, we're in Malaysia, we're in US Virgin Islands, we're in, where's that one? I think that was in Croatia, France, the big boat. Yeah, so it wasn't always like this. We met late in life. So ladies, if you're still, you know, wondering, it can happen. Okay. I met my husband very late in life when I'd pretty much given up on that sort of thing. And as I said, it took me, as I say to my girlfriends, it took me a long time to find my Prince Charming, but it can happen. And is there a trick to see your slides? Sorry, you can't see them. Ah, you can't see them. Okay. Go up to view. Sorry, everyone. Just go up, hover over and go up to view and just see if that. So is everyone else seeing my slides? Otherwise, it's going to be really boring just listening to me. Thank you, Eileen. You can't see my slides. No way. Okay. I think I know why. Okay. Gosh, you've had to look at my face all this time. I'm so sorry. All right, I think I know what I've done wrong. Here we go. Share. Good old technology and me. We're best friends. Yay. Can you see it now? Oh, that's funny. I always do something. So if I can do this, anyone can do it. Okay. Oh, that means you missed the view. Okay, let me click back to the view so it makes sense and you can see. Where are we? Had all these really cool slides. That was the view. That was our COVID view. So that's what's possible when you have a flexible lifestyle. That's actually France. So I'll just quickly jump through the slides for you. That's actually France. Beautiful, beautiful France. That's the US Virgin Islands. That's the checklist you get at the end. That's not taking selfies, and that's daring to dream. And then that is Bavaria in Germany. Highly recommend it. And that's us. So those are the few. Thank you so much for letting me know, Eileen. Thank you. I've lost the chat now. Where'd the chat go? Where'd the chat go? Good old technology. Nope, that's not where. Where's my chat? Where's my chat? Where's my chat? Sorry, won't be a sec. Totally professional here. I'll just carry on. I'll where's the chat more? There we go. Okay. Gotcha. Thank you. Hooray. All righty. Okay, now I think we're good. Okay, so that was, so myself, I'm from Australia, and I watch most of my friends go off on a traditional backpacking trip around the world after university. Meanwhile, I was actually building businesses. So I actually chose that route. So I actually didn't start traveling until I went on my first plane ride when I was 29. So that's quite old for Aussies. And my first overseas trip was in my early 30s to Hawaii. So I think I've got a pic of that in here. Yeah, that's looking very serious. I think I was trying to do the blue steel look or something way back then, but that's me in Hawaii. And that was my first trip, overseas trip. So yeah, I'm much happier now. That was me in Yosemite, as I said. It's one of my favorite national parks. So once I did my first trip, I really had the travel bug. And I kind of, yeah, we in Australia get about 4 weeks. We actually get 4 weeks holiday a year. So I then started traveling solo quite a lot and did quite a lot of solo trips, went to America a lot. And here are some of my solo trips. We've got New Zealand before I met my husband. We've got Thailand, we've got Monaco, we've got Italy's the one tilted on the side. And then we've got the Leaning Tower of Pisa as well. And it was actually this trip in Italy in the middle here that started. I was on a solo trip around Italy, and I remember sitting in my little place in Italy going, I don't want to go home. How can universe, please, praying, like, can you please show me a way so that I can just do this full time? I just want to travel full time. And, and interestingly, ironically, on that trip, talk about the universe answering really quickly. I ended up then in Rome, and I was on a bus tour around Rome, top of a double-decker bus. And I got a message saying that the company I was working for, because I was in corporate, had folded. And with it, they took quite a lot of money of their staff, of everything, commissions and things like that. And that was paying for my trip. So I was like, So I didn't actually see it as the opportunity back then. So I came back to Australia, went and got myself another corporate job, because that's what you do. And it took me another 1.5 years later before I kind of went, this is ridiculous. And I was in a corporate role with a national company, and I was traveling a bit with that. So that was really good in some ways, seeing more of Australia. And I wanted to go to Bali for 2 weeks, and I asked for time off, and they said no. So I went, see ya. Now, I don't recommend, that's not the way I teach it. I don't recommend that you do that. That's not really the smartest way. But I then went to Bali for a couple of months and really went, yeah, this is definitely what I want to do. Came back to start packing up my stuff and doing all that sort of thing and working out how I was going to afford it. And then met my husband. So this is him in something tree. What's it called? Something jazz. What is it? What are these trees called? Joshua trees. Thank you, Cecilia. So yeah, this was on our road trip. I'll tell you about that in a sec. So I met my husband, and he's an aircraft, or was an aircraft engineer for Air New Zealand. He worked for Air New Zealand, and he also worked, he was in the forces before that. And he'd done a bit of traveling through his work when he worked for the Air Force, and a couple of other trips, but he never really explored, like what we do now, nothing like it. And we met, and I happened to mention to him I was going to the US later that year, and jokingly said, oh, you should come too. And Clark, being the easygoing, laid-back guy that he is, said, okay. And I was like, gulp, okay, sure. So 3 months into our relationship, we went on a road trip across America. I think I've got a picture of our RV that we hired from Cruise America. And honestly, ladies, it was the best thing to test out a relationship. Just go on an RV trip with someone, because you're really going to get to know them quite quickly. And you can either kick them out if you don't like them and they can find their own way home, or you'll end up falling in love with each other. And after spending 3 weeks together in a confined space, I knew that if he can put up with me for that long, he was the guy. And we got married 3 years ago now, just over 3 years ago. So we had 2 weddings, but it's another story for another day. And no, he didn't, that wasn't the jacket that he wore for the wedding. It was one he borrowed, just mucking around with a mate. So he did wear a nice jacket. Actually, I don't think yes, he did. Yes, he did. So since then, we've created some magical experiences. We've met so many people around the world, made so many wonderful and dear friends, Brian. We've created lifelong friendships. Goodness me, that's a girl from the UK. Wow, she's up late. And we've just had some, hey, Vanessa. I don't think she realizes the camera's on. So yeah, and we've made some wonderful, wonderful friends, and I'll just mute that. And had some wonderful time. We've eaten pizza in Italy, we've drunk beer in Germany, we've swum with turtles in the Caribbean, and so on and so on and so on. But one of the things I want to say is that there's really nothing special about us. Like, honestly, like we're just your everyday people that were just living life like normal. You know, I was in a corporate job. Clark was, you know, doing his thing. He had his own business. And we're just everyday people, you know. We're not adventurous. I'm more adventurous than Clark is, but I've done some crazy stuff like jumping out of planes and things like that, and whitewater rafting and canyoning and some stuff like that. And he's done some crazy things too. He used to race jet boats. So if you know those, check those out in New Zealand. Very cool thing to do. And we weren't really into ticking off, you know, a bucket list or anything. We just wanted to live more and experience more. We didn't want to rush it. Other than, yeah, going to Formula Ones, which is my passion, we're kind of really pretty lazy travelers, and we're just everyday people. So if we can kind of do this, you know, and we're not the wealthiest in the world, and we found a way to make this work. So I just want to share this with people so that if they're, you know, in a similar place that we are, then, you know, if that's where you are, then I want to help you to make whatever your dream is come true. And so that you can drink beer with in Bavaria, you can go to Singapore, you can go to France, you can go see the elephants in Thailand, you know, so many wonderful things that you can do. So let's get into how we did it. Vanessa, if you can hear me, not sure if you want to turn your camera off. You're looking very sleepy eyes because it's the middle of the night there. Thank you for joining me. There we are. So how did we do it? This is us being lazy. Sorry, it's a bit pixelated. That's us in the Caribbean. So let's look at how we did it. Okay. So the nitty gritty, gosh, how we did it. The first phase, the first step, I guess, was before I even met Clark, was actually clarifying kind of that I wanted to do it. I actually created a vision board of, like, when I got back from Italy, that trip in Italy, I created a vision board, and it's something that I really believe in. And that vision board had all the places in the world that I wanted to go. And I carried it with me. You know, it was at home. I actually carried a smaller version with me when I was doing my corporate job. And I kind of I didn't have any clue how I was going to do it. I just knew that I wanted to travel more. So I guess the first thing you've got to do really is just get clear on, like, what is your dream? Because it's one thing to say, okay, I want to travel more. It's very, very broad. You know, what do you want to experience? Why do you want to experience it? Like, and don't limit yourself with what's possible, because so many of us, like I did in the beginning, it was like, oh, I could never afford to go, you know, to the Monaco Grand Prix or something like that. But there's always a way that you can do things, you know, like might want to go on a huge, you know, super yacht, but doesn't mean you have to own it to be able to go on it. There's lots of different ways that you can get on a super yacht. You might want to fly in a private plane. Doesn't mean to say you have to own it. There's lots of different ways that you can do it. So it's about thinking outside the box and expanding your mind. What don't you want to do is another place to start if you know where you want to go and what you want to do is a bit too big. So really, really important to clarify what your dream is. Who do you want to spend time with? You know, do you want to go and visit people throughout the world, or do you want to go and visit family throughout the world, or do you want to invite them to somewhere to, like, Tuscany? You know, we're working towards at the moment getting our friends together in Italy next year. So what's really, really important to you, and just getting clear on that, because in our busy life, we usually don't take time to do this, but this is about planning out a completely new lifestyle. So it's super important to actually do this and to take the time to actually clarify what your dream is. What ticks in here? Give yourself some time, you know, what's in your heart. And also to define what's your travel personality. And I've got something to help you with that later down the track as well. So clarifying your dream is really, really, really important. And I'll talk a bit more about vision boards and things like that a bit later. Some people think that they're woo-woo. They work. I'm living proof of it, you know. So next part, I suppose. So clarifying your dream is the first step. The next part is to do a trial run. And when I say clarifying your dream too, I mean about kind of planning it out a little bit as well. And I'll go into that a little bit more. But yeah, the next thing is to kind of do a trial run. Our trial run was actually when we decided, and I convinced my husband that this was a lifestyle we could do when we got back. Actually, it was when we did this kind of trial run. We did this trial run to Indonesia. And it's super, super, super important to do a trial run because this lifestyle sounds wonderful to everyone, but whether it suits you or not is a really, really important thing to determine. We have some dear friends back in Australia who decided to do the same thing. And they packed up their house, they rented it out, they packed up their things, they changed their business, they did all these things. They converted their business online so they could manage it from afar, and their bricks and mortar business. And then they bought their ticket and off they went. 6 weeks later, they came home because it just wasn't for them. And so it's super, super, super important that you do a trial run. And there's a whole heap of things around doing the trial run and what you need to do to make that work. But it's really, yeah, it's such an important thing to make sure that you don't kind of change your whole life and then find out that's really not for you. Thankfully, luckily for them, they rented their house out to their children so they could just go back home again. But and you know, they've now had benefits from, you know, being able to work remotely anyway. They've now get to do different things with their grown-up kids and stuff like that. But it just wasn't for them. So really important that you clarify it. I'll need to log off. See you later to work in a few. Any chance I can watch the recording? Yes, Cecilia, I will send you the recording. So thank you. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so the trial run, this was our trial run. So we booked a trip to Indonesia, and it was a big 6-week trip. We did all around Indonesia. We went to some remote islands as well. It was 6 weeks. And this was actually, we went to Candi Dasar in Indonesia. We went up north, we went all the way around. We went to Single Fin down south in Bali, sorry. When I say Indonesia, I mean Bali, pardon me. And then we went to the Gili Islands, and we went to, I think it was Gili Mino. It's not the super party one, it's a really quite quiet one. And this remote island, these little huts were actually where we were working from. And so the power would go out at least once a day, and we'd just pack up our laptops and then go for a swim, do some snorkeling, go out in a boat, do whatever, come back and get, you know, if the power was going, we'd reboot the modem and off we go and do some more work if we needed to or whatever. And this was a perfect trial run because we tried all these different locations and all these different sort of places around Bali and the remote islands. And it worked. And we thought, gosh, if we can manage our businesses, you know, the business and everything like that, that we'd set up, we converted Clark's business online and my business that I'd set up. If we can do it like that, then we can do it from anywhere. So that's what we did. So doing a trial run is super, super, super important. The next thing is, just let someone in there. The next thing is to plan out your first year. So just let me catch up with my notes there. So planning out your first year is like, yeah, as I said, we're not 20 anymore, so we can't just wing it. And I like my creature comforts. So I like to have my accommodation sorted. I like to know where I'm going. And I like to do it at, you know, have minimal stress. I like to enjoy the whole process as much as possible. So here's a few tips for planning out your first year. So start in a familiar place. That's one of the things. So we actually started when we, you know, did it did, bit the bullet, booked the one-way ticket and packed everything up. We started in Bali because we were familiar with it. So it's a really good kind of, if we'd forgotten anything, we could zip back again. It was quite easy. The other thing is to step up gradually. So it depends on your personality, of course, and your travel personality. But for us, it was about stepping up gradually so that, we had businesses to run. So we had responsibilities, bills to pay and things like that. Still a lot less bills, mind you. But there were things that, we had to, we had responsibilities. So step it up gradually. Don't go into the middle of Africa for your first stint. I wouldn't recommend that unless you've been there before and you know it and understand it, because there's just so many things that are new when you actually take up this lifestyle and become, digital nomad in your 40s and 50s. So also go at a slower pace, just initially for that first year, and it just helps you to adapt and to iron out any kinks and things like that. And something else to be aware of that no one talks about is the 3 week, 6 week, and 3 month rule. This is when you get homesick. 3 weeks in, 6 weeks in, and 3 months in. I've seen it time and time again. So just prepare for that and just know that it's a stage that you're going through, and then stick it out a little bit. There's things that you can do to, have more calls with your family, just do more things, maybe map out your first year so that you're connecting with some family or friends and things like that. And that'll make that a little bit easier for you. And also plan to circle back home. It's really, good, especially in your first, year or two, is to circle back home, get anything sorted that you kind of miss that you really need to be there for. And thankfully in this day and age, it's getting less and less, but it's kind of a good thing to do. So those are some tips for your first year. So map out your first year. That's the next step. After that, that's just us in Paris. Sorry, I missed that slide. I was supposed to be talking about Paris. So go at a slower pace. Paris is still going to be there next year. So don't try and cram everything into your first year. What else? Okay, so the next thing is you really need to do the research. And a lot of people don't do this. They don't do enough research. So by doing this process that we've kind of mapped out for you, it really gives you the right way to kind of do it. So you kind of, map it out, plan it out, do a trial run, and do your research on it and dive into your research quite substantially. So be aware of like all the cultural differences, the requirements, research into each place you're going to, their culture, so that you don't do the wrong thing. In, is it Vietnam or Thailand? One of those two. It's actually kind of offensive to show affection to your partner, your husband, wife, partner, in public. So these are things that you need to be respectful of when you go into, a different country. Especially now, of course, the things we need to look at is the COVID requirements. What's it really like? Last week I did a tour on Playa del Carmen, Mexico, the Riviera Maya. And, a lot of people ask, so what's it really like, And so I was explaining, the different COVID kind of what it's like COVID-wise here at the moment to help people to determine whether they wanted to come here or not. So these are the things you need to research. You need to research things like your visas. You need to research the health care in each location. Where's the nearest hospitals? What's the quality of care there? Look at the accommodation that you're going to. Look through the reviews and look for things like that. When's the best season to go? What's rainy season really like? Because I love going outside of peak season, just slightly. And sometimes that means being in rainy season. So like in Vietnam, we ended up in the worst floods in 20 years. But oh my gosh, that was an incredible experience. We knew what rainy season was like. We knew there would be flooding. We just didn't expect that level of flooding. So that was always interesting. Also just visas and things like that. Like we've made some mistakes with visas and nearly missed out on going to a country and, having to lose all our flights and accommodation that we'd booked. So super, super important to take the time. And this is why it takes at least 6 months to do the preparation for it. This was our story about missing our visas. And we got to the airport and we had the wrong visas. We didn't have the right visa to go to Vietnam, and we'd had all these things booked and flights and everything. So there was this mad panic. One thing to remember, get to the airport really, really early, because if things like this happen, we had enough time that we could go online, find what we hoped wasn't a dodgy thing, pay an exorbitant amount for a visa, and then get on that flight, and all was well. And we ended up in Vietnam and had a wonderful time. But yeah, really important that you actually do that research. So next question is, how much do you need in order to do this type of lifestyle? So I actually can't see what time it is, so I'm sure we're getting close to, okay, powering through it. All right, so how much do you think it might cost? So thinking about us, so we travel, basically we do business class on the long hauls as much as we can. When we could fly, okay, just not talking to COVID. We stay in 5-star resorts, minimum 4-star. We travel about every 1 to 3 months. So we move countries or locations. Sometimes we hire cars, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we do trains, sometimes we don't. We like our creature comforts. So in the chat, just to make sure you're all still there, how much per year do you think it costs us to have the lifestyle? And that will give me a chance to take a drink. So excuse me. Just pop in the chat what you think. And I'm talking accommodation, transport. We don't count food, just accommodation, transport, and flights and things like that. Okay. So, yeah, cool. Thank you, Eileen. Eileen said about 50K each. Yep. 44. That's a very exact number, Tamra. 44,000. Okay. Ali, it would depend greatly where you're spending time. Vietnam's very different to Paris. Absolutely, absolutely. So to give you an idea, we generally go Southeast Asia, or kind of every year. I don't know, I think you came on late, Ali, but every year we circle back to Australia just to check on our parents and things like that. Usually, we haven't been able to for the last 2 years, but usually we do that. And then we do Southeast Asia, Europe for the summer. We follow summer around, and then we might go the US and then kind of come back again. So that's okay, no worries, you got the time wrong. 30,000 euro each. Yep, Rosemary, yep. Where are you from, Rosemary? Where are you if you're talking euros? I'm curious. 30,000 euro each. Cool. So quite a range. And that's what this is all what I used to think it would cost because of the way I used to travel before. So you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready to see what it costs us? That's it. And yeah. And so, and this is without going without. This is us being comfortable. Now, it has gone up a little bit the last few years because we chose to spend a little bit more. But this was what it was each. This was 10,000 each per year. And I think that's Australian dollars. I'd have to check with my husband. He's the numbers man. But and that's included our flights, our accommodation, our transport, our car hires if there was, and everything like that. So who wants to know how we made it happen like that? Because we were traveling very, very comfortably. We've had incredible experiences, and yeah, with mileage plans, no, because we hadn't done enough travel before that. And we're hopeless at doing the mileage plans. It's on our list of things to do better mileage plans. We've only got basic ones at the moment. So yes, please, we want to know. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you wait. Sorry. Okay, so let me share some. Now, these are just some of the things that you can do to make it a much more cost effective. But what I want you to think about first is that your lifestyle is going to be very different. So we no longer have a car. So we don't have car insurance. We don't have to maintain that car. We don't have to, do any of those things. We don't have, we don't have insurance on our physical businesses, our bricks and mortar businesses. We have online staff now, so we don't have all those costs and everything like that. But let me share some of the tips and tricks. Okay, this is one of them. No, not get yourself a husband and a dog. Although, you know, if that's one of your goals, then absolutely go for it. You'll meet amazing people around the world. But we actually did, for our first year, we actually discovered house sitting. Now, when I went to Bali that first trip, I actually house sat for a friend, and it got me thinking. I'm like, what is this house sitting thing? Sorry, I just got something in my. And I came back to Australia, and my corporate boss at the time wanted me to look after her house while she went away. And I'm like, okay. So house sitting, which is now much more popular. So we're talking like, you know, that was, gosh, 8 years ago now. But house sitting is much more popular. There's fantastic websites, and actually I'll send out some links in the email that I send out with the replay. I'll send out some links to the house sitting sites in Australia and worldwide that we use. But what it is, we don't charge for it. It's actually free. We do it for free, but some people do it as a business. And I have friends who do that as well, and they travel the world charging for house sitting as well. We don't. We just don't want that risk, you know, that kind of added pressure of being a business. But that really kept our costs down. But what was really awesome about it was that we got to experience life as a local in these places. And we don't do less than like a month in each place. So we look for the long stays, and you really get to know the local people. You get to know the local grocery store. You get to know you take your dogs for walks in the beautiful like fields like this. And it has been the most incredible experience for us. And we've made some lifelong friends that started out as people that we were house sitting for. Now we have to visit them every time we go into their country because we wouldn't have it any other way. It's just such an amazing experience. And there's ways to do it, because there can be some bad experiences as well. Maybe we should do a course on house sitting as well, help you guys out with it. If anyone's interested in that, let me know, and I'll put together a course on, like, you know, how to be a good house sitter, what to look out for, and how to and how to you know, find the great house sits. We have been in like multi-million-dollar houses throughout the world, and you know, they're a big responsibility, don't get me wrong, but oh my goodness, the experiences have just been fantastic. So we haven't quite nailed it on how to house sit a luxury yacht yet, but we're working on it. So the other thing that we had that helped us as well was we love staying in resorts. So one of the things was timeshare. So I've owned a timeshare from Australia for a very, very long time. And then we actually bought another one in Bali, of all places. That was like a risky purchase we didn't tell anyone about, but it turned out to be fantastic. So, but you really, really need to know what you're doing in regards to timeshare and do lots of research, because I've learned a lot about them over the years, and there's good and bad, and some of them really aren't worth it. But the ones we chose really were, and that helped us to stay in places. And what we used to do is we used to book the timeshare in the countries we'd like to go to. And then if we weren't doing a house sit there, we'd book a couple of weeks of timeshare, and then we'd explore the country, and we'd find somewhere else to stay that was local, you know, or that was, you know, a lot more better value, so to speak, you know, and different options. So we might then explore Airbnbs a bit more. We might explore some local options of rentals, because when you stay 1 to 3 months, it opens up different options. So like in Italy, you know, staying 3 months is a whole heap of different price to staying just, you know, a couple of weeks. So we used to stay in the timeshare resorts and do that. So maybe I need to do one on timeshare as well, but that's a whole nother conversation. There's also lots of other ways. So things like booking 31 or 32 days on Airbnb, watch the prices go down. That you get huge discounts up to like 80%. We even found one that was 80% off because it was like 32 days. So that's another trick. What else? I think that was Airbnb or booking.com, one of those two, just check those. Flight tricks. So how we get our business class flights before COVID was a lot of the airlines, you can bid on a flight and they have a minimum. We used to just put like $20 or $50 more than the minimum, and we'd get it. Because most people think, oh, you know, it has to be a whole heap more. No, we would just go a little bit above it, and we'd get business class flights. And every time we did it, we actually, I can't guarantee every time, but for us, it worked pretty much every time. So, and then the other thing too is simplifying our expenses. So, you know, the fact that we don't have car insurance or anything like that anymore, most of the things you don't need anymore, like I used to own lots and lots of sporting equipment. I used to think that I had to own everything in order to enjoy it. Now I just hire what I want, and it's much cheaper. So if we go somewhere and we want to, you know, if I wanted to go like paddleboarding, I'll just hire a paddleboard and off I go. This time, just because we've been in Mexico for a little bit longer than anticipated, I've actually bought one, but I'll sell it when I go. Simple, that sort of thing. So, you know, it's just about thinking about things, doing things a little bit differently. If you want to go on a boat, don't have to own the whole thing. Just go on a boat tour or a boat cruise. So lots of different things that we normally would try and sort of strive for and own in the normal life, totally different, just a different way of thinking about it. Okay, so we've gone through, I should do a recap probably. So we've gone through, you need to create clarity around what you want to do, who you are, what type of travel person you are, what type of travel you want to do. You need to find bidding on a flight, never heard of that. Oh, I'll have to check what airlines do that, but yeah, they do. They allow you to bid on a business class flight. That's what that is. So, Joanna, what else? We've found ways to reduce your costs. We've found you do a trial run, do your research. So these are all the things that we've covered so far. The next thing is to create income and the financial freedom so that you can do it. And the holy grail of all of this is recurring income. There's lots of different ways to do this. There's people are living this location independent lifestyle by doing it differently. Some of my friends have a business at home and they get a manager in for it. So they train up a manager and that gives them the freedom to travel for whatever periods, and they set up their business. When I had a business many years ago, when I was traveling solo, I set up my business, gosh, that was a long time ago, in my 30s. I set up my business so that I could manage it from overseas. And I had managers in each of my sites that I had my businesses. So that's something that, you know, definitely can be done. You can sell, obviously, you know, everyone's gone nuts with this at the moment, but you can sell products online, services online, courses online. You can do affiliate marketing. You can do multi-level marketing. You can become an influencer if you want to. We've just done all these things we've created several income streams without doing that. You can trade on the stock market. You can rent out your property, and depending on how much of it you own, you know, that might be enough to sustain you, because I've just shown you that you don't need a lot of money to be able to do this lifestyle and do it very, very comfortably, you know, in multi-million-dollar properties, in beautiful resorts, in, remembering that the costs are lower, so you don't need as much. So that side hustle, everyone talks about a side hustle, you know, that might be enough to actually give you this income and give you this recurring income that you can live this lifestyle. Now, I could spend hours and hours and hours on just, you know, on different income streams and how to do them and things like that. We're actually putting together a much bigger course that covers all that. I've been working on that for the last year, and that's coming soon. And that's going to go into all of those sorts of things, like how to quit your 9-to-5, how to properly, not like how I did it where I just said, see ya, how to, you know, build a business online, how to create the recurring income, the different ways that we've done it and all those sorts of things. So that's coming soon. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Tamara. Thank you. Airlines that let you bid for an upgrade. There you go. That's awesome. Thank you. I will take that link and put it into the email as well for the others. Appreciate that. Awesome. I love it when people help out. That's so cool. Okay, so, oh, that's just me doing the Instagram shot, but not really, because it's just so not me doing the Instagram thing. But this is me working in Montenegro. It's not really the best photo of Montenegro. It's really such a beautiful place. It's quite unique. And, you know, I just do a couple of hours work and then we'd go exploring, and it was such a great place to explore. So this is the type of lifestyle. There's so many different ways. You can just got to think outside the box of what you can actually do. Alrighty, so the next step So creating an income is the next step. So the next one after that is actually making the decision to do it. This is the scariest part. And this is why my big course is actually called Courage to Travel, because it takes courage to do this. This is not the norm. Now, thankfully, with COVID, there's a lot more people working from home now, but traveling and everything, you know, this is not the norm. COVID aside, but it's not the normal lifestyle. When I first came up with this kind of like, hey, I want to do this, none of my friends did it. There wasn't anyone to help us out. We just kind of worked it out on our own. And so, you know, there wasn't courses on it. There wasn't, you know, everything, like there wasn't a course on house sitting. We just kind of nutted it out, and we've had some hairy, scary experiences with that. And we've had some wonderful ones, gosh, more wonderful ones than the hairy, scary ones. So yeah, there was nothing out there. So now there's a lot more. Like there was a lot of people like doing the backpacking thing and stuff like that. And that's why I don't really cover that, because if you want to do the backpacking, that's awesome. Plenty of that to find it. But doing it comfortably and doing it like the lazy traveler way, where you spend plenty of time. And that's the other thing I forgot to say too, is when you spend plenty of time, you can choose the days that you go. If it's raining one day and you want to go, you know, to the Louvre, however I say it. Sorry, my French people. My French it's been a while since I've been there. The Louvre. Then, you know, if it's raining, you can go the next day because you're there for ages. So, yeah, lots of different ways you can do it. So making the decision can be scary. But there comes a time when you draw a line in the sand and you go, okay, we're going to do it by this date. And even scarier, you actually buy the ticket. Now, funny story, just real quick. I know we've gone over. I wanted to make this an hour, but we've gone over. We're nearly there. But really quick, funny story is that we actually hadn't sold our other car, because I had a couple of cars and a motorbike. That's just me, because I used to collect stuff. So much stuff. And so we'd sold those off, but we hadn't sold my husband's car. And it was the day we had to leave, and we'd bought the ticket and we'd had people look at it and everything like that. Anyway, we had someone look at it a week before and they're like, yeah, we'll take it. And we're like, okay, how are we going to get it to you? Da, da, da. So we actually drove the car to the airport and they met us at the airport. Talk about, oh my gosh. We kind of had a backup plan. It wasn't great. It was like having to leave it somewhere and have our friends come and get it. But these are things because we drew a line in the sand and we went, we are going on this day and nothing's going to stop us in doing that. And once you draw that line in the sand, things happen and you make it happen. Things do fall into place because you have to, right? So there's never a perfect time. Like my friends say, because I wasn't blessed to have kids, you know, there's never a perfect time to have kids. You know, you can plan it out as best you can, but there's still going to be hiccups. So there's never a perfect time for you know, drawing the line in the sand and doing this. Just do it before it's too late. Okay, before it's too late. I can't stress that enough. Do it before it's too late. Put aside the excuses or the real reasons, you know, find a way around it, draw the line in the sand, book that ticket and make it happen. Take the steps towards it. So that's the step you need to take next, is to actually make that decision, choose a deadline day, and then you'll get real clear on making it happen. All right. One of the things that I get asked a lot is the decluttering. Now, this is a very small garage compared to the one I had. I had a 4-bedroom house or apartment, 4-bedroom apartment. I also had a garage that was a double garage, split level, full of stuff. Like I collected a lot of stuff, right? Crazy when I look back. I had tools, I had everything that you could possibly imagine. I had a classic car, I had a motorbike, I had all the like sporting goods you can imagine, kite surfing gear, everything. Had spare this, spare that, just in case. So decluttering takes time. So this is one of the things that you need to kind of start sooner rather than later, I recommend. It was yeah, a big job. But if you do it gradually and you set yourself some goals, then it's not too bad. There's this great course, which I'll see if I can find the link, by a girl called Ali. And I think it's called something like Declutter Like a Mother or something like that. She does an incredible decluttering thing. It's really cool. But it's not really, you can make it a fun experience, and you need to start sooner rather than later. So once again, this is why it takes 6 months to prepare. And even like that day that we flew and we left, there was still stuff that I needed to get rid of, and I put it in my friend's garage and said, I'll come back, I promise, I'm so sorry. So yeah, and so that's decluttering. That's the other thing you need to do. And you make some good money from it too. I did a garage sale, made quite a bit. Final things, you need to, yeah, final mistake, not doing a pre-pack. So you've booked it, you've drawn the line in the sand, you've done all the planning, you've done all the, all the checklists and things like that. You've got all your insurance, you've got all your medications, you're ready to go. Do a pre-pack. Let me repeat that again. Do a pre-pack. And what that means is pack everything up as if you're going the weekend before. And also just secretly tell all your friends and family that you're going that weekend. Because everyone wants to see you. It's this weird thing. Everyone wants to see you because they think that you're never, ever going to come back, because they can't comprehend what you're doing. They can't understand that, like, your lifestyle. My family still keeps saying, my dad goes, when are you going to settle down? It's like, Dad, it's just not my style. I love what we do. It's fantastic, you know? So do a pre-pack, tell everyone that you're leaving that weekend, because everyone will want to come and see you right up to the end. And then you have this week of peace and quiet of sorting out those last few things, because I didn't do that the first time. I had everything ready to go and I'm packing, and the minute we were supposed to be leaving for the airport, I couldn't fit it all in. I just couldn't. And I had to make some really hard decisions that were really, really stressful, and it wasn't fun. So do a pre-run on your packing. Highly, highly recommend that. That's just, yeah, highly recommend that. Okay, as you can see, there is lots and lots and lots for you to do, okay, which is why it takes a while to do it. We haven't even covered sustaining it yet, like how to actually, you know, do it if you're traveling solo, or how to do it if you're with a partner as well. You know, how to have your own interests, how to keep up those interests. You know, I love dancing. It's been challenging with COVID, but anyway, but you know, learning online. I took up ballet at 50. So yeah, and I just did it online. So many different things that you can do. How to keep in touch with your friends at home and family, you know, how to make sure that you keep some familiar territory as well. So I kind of touched on that, but as human beings, we need to have things that are familiar to us around us. So, you know, whether that means, you know, like each year we go back to France because we just absolutely love summers in France, in Europe. It's just beautiful. And we have some dear friends there, and that's kind of something that's familiar to us. And it's nice to kind of go, you know, and just hang out in the familiar a little bit. So things like that help you to sustain this lifestyle. So there's lots and lots and lots to do. So I hope I've given you kind of, you know, a little bit to start with. When we started 7 years ago, there was nothing like this. There was no one in our age group, as I said before. There were plenty of backpackers, but there really wasn't a thing. So, so we basically kind of worked at it. Sorry, the pictures are a bit pixelated. I'm not a professional photographer. There's no retouching here. And we basically just kind of worked it out for ourselves, and we made a lot of mistakes along the way, but we learned from those mistakes. And that's why we're doing what we're doing now. And we really want to help people so that you guys don't have to make the same mistakes. And because this has been the absolute best thing that we've ever done. And we're so glad that we did it. And if we can help just one person or one couple to change their life, to fulfill their travel dream, then mission accomplished, you know, because that'll be one other person or people, that couple who, you know, are living this ultimate lifestyle that's their dream. So, yeah. So other than getting married, then yeah, this has been the absolute best thing. Now, before we jump into the Q&A, I want to just quickly share with you, what a gift to share this knowledge. Oh, thank you, Eileen. That's so sweet. Thank you. I hope you've got something out of it, and I hope that gives you the checklist I'll send to you guys that are here. I'll have to do a quick list of actual people before you run away, and I'll make the list to make sure I capture you so I can send you the checklist. As I said, we want to help you. So I've put together something for you to experience. Let me see. Because it can be really, really overwhelming. So as I said, I'm putting together like a full-on course, like it's called the Courage to Travel course, and that's coming soon. And that's going to cover everything that we've talked about today in detail, but it's also going to give you the opportunity to work one-on-one with us or in a small group as well. So you can get all those questions answered, so you can have someone holding your hand through the tricky bits all the way through from the beginning of the idea all the way through to actually, getting on the plane and sustaining it. And yeah, so that's what we're creating. But it's going to be like huge 12 modules, 6 months in it and everything. But for now, what I want to give you guys is your starting point. So, when I talked about the first step, so the first step before you do anything else is to clarify where you want to go. Okay, so that's the first step. So you've got to do this first step, clarifying where you want to go, how long you want to spend there, who you want to go with, what you want to do there, the style of travel you want, how to choose the best trial location, map out your first year successfully and feel supported all the way. And please don't ask your family or friends to support you with this, because they're going to think you're nuts. Okay, so if you haven't joined the Facebook group, join the Facebook group so we can all cheer you on. So yeah, this is the first step. And I mentioned to you earlier that, I can't stress enough that this is actually more important than the research, because getting clear on who you are as a traveler and taking the time to really dive into that is really important to actually making this work for you. So, when I mentioned earlier that I actually had a vision board, and I'm a big believer in these. So I put together a little course for you to create your own travel vision board. And what this does is it's a lot better than the one I did when I got back from Italy, much better. And it's got a lot more clarity in it. And it basically helps you to map out your first 12 months of travel, and it helps you to clarify. And then so I take you through kind of how to put the vision board together, and it helps you to visualize then, and the visualization of seeing that every day, and you can have a physical one or a digital one. I'll help you decide on that. But it helps your brain to kind of keep moving you forward, keeps you focused, keeps you accountable. And I'm also putting in there a travel personality quiz as well, so that you can determine exactly what your travel personality is. Because you might think that it's a certain type, like you might think that you're a luxury traveler. Like I used to think I'm a really luxury traveler, but I'm kind of more comfort traveler. I like to be comfortable, and sometimes I'd rather spend money on experiences than I would on, the luxury kind of stuff. But I kind of mix that a little bit. So really getting to know you. So this is what it's all about. It starts on August 2nd. I'd love for you to join me, and I'll take you through. Actually, I need to get the link here so I can put the link in the little chatty thing for you. Let me get the link there. Let me get the chat here. Got to move things around all the time. So it's 3 modules. We're going to run it over three weeks, just to give you plenty of time if you have a busy life and everything like that. So 3 modules. It's creating the travel vision board, your travel personality quiz, and then mapping it out. I'm going to do a live group call, just because I love talking and connecting with you guys. A live group call each week, so you can ask me lots of questions about this first step. And also there's a beautiful visualization meditation that I'm going to throw in there as a nice bonus to help you visualize where you're going to be in this time next year. okay, when 2022, pardon me. And there's also, as just because you've stuck with me all this time and listened to me, blah, 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 I'm going to give you, if you choose to join this course before Sunday, I'm going to give you a one-on-one call with me as well, so that I can help you map out your plan as much as possible. So to give you an idea what's in each module, I'll just jump through here quickly. Module 1's all about the power of the vision board. So why you need a vision board, what you need to have in it to make it effective, the importance of engaging all senses, not just your visual, one major thing that you need to avoid, and how to make it fun as well. Especially if you've never done one of these or you're not into this too much, this is so powerful. So many famous sports people and everything like that do vision boards. So, I think I just gave you the link direct to Ali. Okay, I need to put the link to everyone. There we go. Sorry, Ali, didn't mean to single you out. That was just me. Module 2 is discovering your travel personality. So it's a travel personality quiz. You identify the unique experiences that you really want to have, setting realistic expectations, getting clear on your travel budget style as well. So it's not just your travel personality, but your travel budget as well, and aligning your travel personality to your vision. And then the last module is how to choose what style, how to use symbolism. And that's super important. You get that right and it's going to work. It's like a superpower. Where to find images and inspiration, the importance of being specific, not general, and using your board as a travel plan for your 12 months, right? So that's the little mini course. And I haven't put the price in, have I? Okay, so the cost is $197. But because you've been here today, and I just really wanted to say thank you, I wanted to offer something special. I think it's worth it at $197, but I wanted to offer something special. So all those bonuses, and you get it for $97. So it's the first time I've run through this travel vision board one. So you'll be, first at it, which means that you get a lot more of my time, a lot more of my attention. I'm not going to do the live group calls in the future. So yeah. So that's it. And you just, you go to the link that's I just put in the chat, and I'll send it out in the email tomorrow. So if you choose to sign up before Sunday, then you get those bonuses as well. The live group calls, the visualization meditation. Oh, I spelt it the Australian way. I try and do it the American way. Visualization, I can't even say it now. Visualization is spelt with an S in Australia and a Z or a Z in America. And you get that one-on-one private call with me. So yeah, I hope you'll join me. Thank you so much for listening. If you've got any questions, that's just a saying, you're always one decision away from a totally different life. So I can vouch for that. Thank you so much. Q&As now. If you have any questions about any and all of that, or if I've totally exhausted you, I'm sorry, but thank you for sticking with me. I'm just going to write down everyone's names, so don't run away yet. I just need to get down. I'll do like a little mini roll call. Let me see. So I've got Ali. I've got Brian. I didn't get to see your beautiful face, Brian. You guys are an inspiration. Oh, thank you, Brian. And there you are. Hi. I'll turn my camera off in a second. On in a second. Hang on. So I'll get Eileen. Thank you, Joanna. Laurie. This is the first time I've done one like this with all this information. So I hope it was good. It went a bit longer, so sorry about that, but just have so much to share. Vanessa, Tamara, Rosemary, and Clark, of course. He doesn't get the bonuses. So let me see. It's what took me and Brian to Florida for an entire month. So Brian, okay, so I'm going to stop sharing now so I can see your faces. Oops, where are we? Stop share. It won't take me over there. Hang on, I need to. Well, can you see me now, or can you see me with my arms out? Which one? Is it me? Yeah. Okay. So I'll just do escape over here so that I can bring this in front of the camera. Otherwise, I'm talking to you like this, and this I do not have a good profile, right? Side profile. I'm much better front on. Okay. So if you want to unmute yourself, you're welcome to, or just put the questions. Eileen, this has been super. I'm a virtual assistant. Awesome, Eileen. And I'm really looking at making this happen. Virtual assistant, oh my gosh, such a great thing to do. And Brian wrote, thank you, Tegan. You guys are inspiration. It's what took me and Ryan, his partner, to Florida for an entire month of February this past year as a trial run. So you are miles ahead now. Yes. And it worked, didn't it? Yeah, yeah. So you've done the trial run. So next, you've got to map out your first year. I've got goosebumps. Look, I don't know if you can see the hairs on my arm, but I've got goosebumps. I'm so excited for you. Okay. Daphne is a different person too, thanks to your coaching. Oh, that's awesome. I also do one-on-one coaching, and I've been doing some one-on-one coaching with Brian's friend Daphne, and that's so nice to hear. Thank you. I adore her. She's so awesome. She's doing affiliate marketing, and so that's the avenue she's taken, and she's such a joy to work with. Wonderful. So Vanessa, I can't believe you're still awake. Thank you so much. I know what time it is there, and it's crazy clock, and I'm losing my voice. This is been so much fun. Thank you so much for joining us. So next thing for you, Brian, is mapping that out. So and creating that vision board, because these things work. I swear they do. Hang on. Excuse me. And really mapping out that first year, and then diving into the research part of it. So gosh, I better hurry up and finish my course so that I can help you with the research part of it, because there's checklists and everything in there. Gosh. Okay. So, and then there's, so the income side of it. So are both you and Ryan working online now? You don't have to answer. Sorry, I'm asking all these personal questions. Kind of 50-50, yeah. So that's the biggest part, is really, and I hope I've shown you today that you don't need as much as you thought you did. Like everyone was like 50. I think Eileen, you said 50. I think one of the other girls said, I think Ali said 44,000, which I thought was very exact, each. And this was each. So yeah, our total bill now is, what was last year? Well, last year was a bit weird because of, all the COVID stuff. But the year before that, I think we went up to like 28. Clark knows all this, but I think it was still under 30, but it was, and that's Australian dollars. So the depending on how strong the Australian dollar is to the American dollar, I don't know what the conversion of that is, but it's good. It's so much less than we ever used to like live on. And our biggest expense now is food to keep my husband fed. He eats so much. It's like, and also the thing I didn't touch on, and feel free to leave at any time because I'm just talking, but I didn't touch on, this has been super. Yeah. So was that, I've lost my train of thought now. What was I saying? Oh, I was going to share something really cool. It's gone. I was going to share another anyway, moving forward. Sorry, I got all self-conscious there for a minute and it went woof, out the window. Something to do with, I was talking about feeding my husband and the cost of it and how it's less than I thought. Sorry, fellow adventurers, I have to go now. Thank you, Rosemary. Good luck, happy trails. Thank you, and bon nuit. Bon nuit. She's, yeah, from wee Patty. Lovely, lovely. Oh, I had something really cool to share that I realized I'd missed. Anyway, if I think of it, I'll put it in the replay email. So any questions? I don't know. I prefer to answer questions, but I must have given you lots. I've probably just made your brains go. So thank you so much for joining me. I should wrap it up. Wondering about taxes. Okay. Do you only pay to your home country? Love this question. I love questions, just because otherwise I'm just like, blah, blah, blah. Health insurance, yeah. Where do you stay when you circle back home? Great. Okay, cool. I've got some questions. Awesome. Thank you, Eileen, Tamara, and Ali. All right, so first one, taxes. So we, I learned a lot about the Australian tax system, I've got to say. We went through 3 accountants. And each one of them knew less than I did. And I'm not saying that egotistical, it was just really frustrating because they, one of them even went, oh no, you had to have paid all these taxes, so now you've got a $6,500 tax bill. I'm like, that does not seem right, because we've already paid tax on that amount. So we got, you know, we had to pay this $6,500 thing. And I'm like, this isn't right. So I've dived in and discovered, no, it's not right. But it did take, you know, a few months to get that sorted. So we actually have our businesses at home in Australia. So we pay our taxes in Australia. We also have a business in New Zealand. So in Australia and New Zealand, I can't remember where you are. Sorry, you're in the US, aren't you? Yeah. So Eileen, so there's basically, if you keep your business registered, there's a thing in Australia, and I don't know the American laws, but they will be kind of similar. You just need to research or find an account. That's what I need to find, is a good accountant that can work with us, right? Accountant that knows the whole like American system. If anyone knows a good accountant that works with travelers, let me know. But I'll go in the groups and find a really good one. So the problem they have is that you need to kind of prove that you're a resident of a country, and having the different businesses in New Zealand and Australia is what challenged us with this. And we are out of the country more than their mandatory 180 days. So in Australia, you have to be in the country 180 days in order to be a resident. The thing is that we have home there, family there, and a business there. And I'm always looking for businesses in Australia that show the tax department that we're still Australian residents. So we kind of, it doesn't fit in any of their boxes, but thankfully now with COVID, the Australian tax department suddenly went, oh, so people can work from home. Maybe we might catch up eventually. But the system is very behind in regards to location independent. And I'd say it's the same in the US as well. So the challenge is that, yeah, the idea is you have your business. So you've got your virtual assistant business and you have that registered in America. It's just that you are spending more time. And the way we get around it too is that we never spend more usually than 3 months in any one country. So you're not actually living there. You don't buy a residence there. You're just traveling. So they can't get you on that because you're not actually living there. And that's the Australian kind of how I get around the Australian one. And we just keep giving them more examples of why we've still got family there. We've got, you know, we looked at getting a property just recently in Australia. But because of the way that, you know, it's gone like the American market, we just couldn't get one. So, you know, we wanted to buy, like, we want to build our portfolio, because the bigger your resident, you know, your real estate portfolio is, then the more they realize that you're making lots of money and giving lots of money to the Australian tax department. So there's just things like that you can do, and constantly changing every 1 to 3 months. Yeah. So that's something to look into in regards to the US, but I will put it on my to-do list to see if I can find in one of the other groups and I'll test them out for us, a really good accountant for the US that works with people that travel, because they really don't get it. Like that second accountant that got us the $6,500 bill had no idea. She sounded great on paper, but just had no idea. Okay, health insurances. I've literally just done a video on the considerations, how to, you know, what you need to consider in regards to health insurance and your health when you're traveling. So I'll try and finish that. I've literally just started a YouTube channel, so I'm going to be loading it up on there. I'm on this huge learning curve. So yes, I've done all this without knowing how to be an influencer, without being a blogger. Like I write a few blogs. I love writing, but I definitely haven't blogged properly, and without being a YouTuber. So these are all new things for me, because I want to be able to teach other people how to do them. So it's also an income stream as well. So health insurance, I will send you that. It's only a few days away, that health insurance one. But we have a digital nomad travel insurance. But we also look at the different health insurance in different countries as well, because sometimes we've got quite an expensive one now because of COVID. So now, like, we'll be in Europe next year for summer. We will, and thinking positive. And So we'll be looking at each country and kind of looking at, because we'll be spending, 3 months in each 2 countries next year, in comparison to, well, it depends on how we plan it out. But we can also, sometimes you'll find the health insurance in that country is possible for you, depending how long you stay. And sometimes that's better and it gets you better. So in Italy, for example, the health insurance in Italy is much better than what you'll get through the travel insurance and things like that. So there's all these different things depending on which country you go to. And that's why the research phase in my course that I'm creating, the Courage to Travel course, is huge. Because it's like, okay, if you want to do this, if you do that, if you do this, if you do that, if you do this, if you do that, and it's constantly growing. I'm just going to set a date one day and just go, right, the course is going live on this date, and I'll just keep adding to it. So yeah, these are things to think of, Tamara, for, I hope I'm saying your name right, in regards to health insurance. Ali, where do you stay when you circle back home? So when we circle back home, we actually do house sits. When we started this and we were doing our trial run, we trialed doing house sitting in Australia, and so that we could get a feel for it before we went overseas. And we did a good job, because the people that we house sat for really love us. And every year we're back, they actually organize their holidays, their vacations around us coming back, which is hugely humbling and just lovely, and we really appreciate it. So we do that. It's also my timeshare. So if, depending on Australia, if we go back and we have to quarantine at home, we're just going to book one of my timeshare and just stay there and get things delivered, so that it minimises our impact on anyone, depending on what the situation is. Of course, Australia's a bit behind in things at the moment. So that's what we do. Otherwise, we look for an Airbnb. We did a trip up to Mackay to visit my brother the last time we were home, and we just Airbnb'd it. And we found these gorgeous little places in these little towns in Australia up the coast that I hadn't even visited. So if you want to do that coast drive, let me know. And we found gorgeous places. So that's what we tend to do. So we treat Australia, because we're only there for a month, usually 3 months max, like enough of family. A month's usually enough of family. Love you, mum and dad, and brothers and sisters and aunties and uncles and cousins and everything. Love you all, but a month's usually enough. So yeah, and because we usually, keen to 3 months at the most. I should be nicer than that. US citizens must pay taxes from income earned abroad. Yes, it's the same in Australia. Thank you, Ali. But of course, there are likely loopholes. Yes, there are. So there are loopholes in regards to, like, at the moment, we're researching Italy quite substantially in regards to their tax, and how you can find different ways of making your money make more money for you. And we're actually on my husband's on this awesome learning curve of different investments and things like that. So he's kind of on a mission with that. And my husband, I love dearly, and he's extremely frugal. So he will find the cheapest way to go about it, the most cost-effective way, the loopholes. We did look at, I think it was Germany, and actually moving our companies to Germany. I'm pretty sure it was Germany. Was it setting up companies in Germany? And that had a lot of tax benefits. There's actually, I'll give you a link. I can't find it right now, to this group that is all about kind of tax benefit kind of things. It's like, can't think of the name of it. I'll have to look it up. But that was where we were researching a lot. And we decided there was one tiny thing when we researched into it that we couldn't actually do. It was going to jeopardize our health cover in Australia. So it was going to jeopardize our pension. And it was like we were ready to sign. And we got down to the what do you call it, the brass tacks or the bones of it, and there was something. Tamara, you have to go. Thank you, Tamara. I'll send you a link to the tax one if I can find it quickly, and it was going to jeopardize our pension, not our pension, our retirement health cover. So we ended up not doing that. So these are things that you have to spend a lot of time researching. Don't let that hold you back. Just get traveling. make the most of it while you can. The rest will work it all out. My husband's just come back going, are you still going? Ali, what was the other question? Did I cover all the questions? Yeah. So when you circle back home, that's what we do. Ali, what do you do about a physical address in Australia for tax purposes? The occasional snail. Ali, which country are you from? Because you dropped in late, so I don't know which country you're from. Snail mail. Are you from Australia? Are you an Aussie girl? US at the moment. Okay. Tax purposes, the occasional snail mail these days. Much can be done online, but not everything. Absolutely. Yeah, we my husband's just going, wine time. We Clark says hi, by the way, Brian. And Vanessa. So yeah, we learnt, we were doing really well with that, and in regards to setting up things. So we actually had a phone that what's that, Clark? What's that? Yeah, I know, I'm getting to that. So we had a phone of our own that no one, yes to wine time. I've got about 5 more minutes. My daughter just flew in from Boston. How exciting. I'm so happy for you. That's awesome. Big family hugs. I miss them so much. Oh. So really quickly, so we had a phone that was just for our family members in emergency and just for the banks, because the banks are so far behind. Maria entered in the waiting room. Okay. That's interesting. I'm just going to hold out on Maria because she didn't join before and we're having a good conversation here. So let's just leave that. Sorry, Maria, I'll join you at the end, and I just need to finish this first for Eileen. So we actually had a phone that we take with us that is on the lowest possible plan you can imagine, that you can receive text from, and you can receive an emergency call from your family if you need to, because my parents are both elderly. So that was the phone, and that helps with the banking and receiving text, just on the really low, like I think it's a 20, but we accidentally let it expire, not realizing. And now that completely messed us up. So then we had to actually get a new SIM and send a phone, and we tried to get my mum to do it. No, that wasn't good. So we have a dear friend who we actually use her address as our Australian address. Just be careful it doesn't jeopardize anything with them, if they're on pension or anything like that. But we use that as the banking address from old school, you know, and our physical address. And she collects our mail, and we don't get a lot. 98%, 99 probably, is all online. But there's some companies that insist on sending it to you. And the electoral roll is one of them, that sort of thing. So she actually opens those for us and sends us anything. It's not a big job, and we give her a nice bonus. She doesn't expect payment, and we just buy her nice things or send her money just because we finally got her bank account. We can send it to her. But she's a dear friend of ours. She unfortunately now has to have that phone. And so now if we have to do something with the bank, we have to do it at a time that works when she's at home. So that was just our fault. We just missed it. It's just us being human. It was in the middle of COVID stuff happening and a few other things, and I was quite sick. But so yeah, it was, that was just a mistake. But generally everything else we've nailed, all the mail and everything like that. That's also going to be in our course, like the big one. But yeah, I might release each module, that might be easier than waiting till it's finished. There's a thought. Anyway, so that you guys can get started on it. But yeah, so have a wonderful time with your daughter. And thank you again for everyone. It's so nice to see your face, Brian. Mwah. And thank you, Vanessa, for being here, because I know the crazy time. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Joanna. You haven't had any questions, and Laurie. And so, Eileen, thank you so much. Good luck to all. Thank you. Looking forward to the replay, so I can catch the first half hour, no problem. Thanks, Ali. Messed up the time differences. I do that all the time. Absolutely. I'll send the replay out to you, plus some of the links. I just need to go and grab that great link that Ali put in there. Let's see, about the upgrade. So I'll copy that. So I've got that. Thank you so much, guys. So I'll see you next time, and have a wonderful evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And thanks for sticking with me. It really means a lot to me. Okay, bye.